Alright, today in this 2011 Cadillac SRX, we're going to install part number BX1690 from Blue Ox. Okay, our first step is get underneath the hood. We need to remove 2 push pins on each side of the top edge of the fascia, and then the push pins from the center of the fascia in the front as well. So we'll work our way around removing the push pins. Next, we need to remove a rubber piece that goes across the top edge of the fascia. Now, there's hooks that goes right into the rubber, so basically get a good grip on it and pull it to the left or right side, depending on what side of the car you're on. Okay, next we need to remove the top half of the fascia. To release it, there's 2 push pins underneath. We'll take a screwdriver and reaching in from the front, we'll put a screwdriver to it and then twist it to pop it loose. Then we can take this part and remove it and put it off to the side where it'll be reinstalled later. Next, there'll be 7 bolts on top that we have to remove. There'll be 1 in the middle and then 3 on each side. Now I go in front of the tires in the front wheel well and remove 4 screws on each side. And next we'll go ahead and peel the wheel cover back, and right where the edge of the fascia meets the fender panel, we need to remove a bolt. This bolt will be pointing straight up. And we'll do this on both sides. Alright, now across the bottom of the fascia, we'll remove 12 bolts. There are 2 push pins in the front next to the license plate, 1 on each side. We'll have to remove those, then we can start removing the bumper cover. Now this vehicle has some extra wires going to the bumper cover that doesn't have any readily available disconnects. So there's 1 wire we can disconnect on the driver's side. We'll remove the lock with a small screwdriver and set it off to the side, and push down a small tab and disconnect the wire harness. Now there's another wire harness going to the sensor on that side too. We already have it disconnected. We'll go ahead and show you that you have to push the red lock back and out of the way, and then you can go ahead and disconnect it. At this point, we're going to set our bumper cover on a support, in this case a cart, and then we'll rotate it out of our way since we really can't disconnect it fully due to the wiring. Next, we go ahead and remove 2 bolts for the coolant line. Then remove it from the bumper structure and set it aside for now, and then we'll go ahead and remove the temperature sensor. There's a plastic rivet on the back side of it we have to remove. Both of these pieces will be relocated later. Now I have to trim some plastic around the radiator. We'll cut straight down along the seam and then straight back underneath the bumper. Now we'll make our 2 initial cuts here. When we put our base plate into place, we'll do some more trimming as needed. We'll do this on both sides. Okay. Next we'll go ahead and start work on reattaching the coolant lines. First off, we'll use a 1/4-inch drill bit and drill into holes above where the coolant lines were taken out. We'll be drilling through the back side of the bumper. Next we'll go ahead and use a 1 1/4-inch hole saw and drill out the holes in the face of the bumper. Now you make sure the bit on your hole saw is extended as far as possible. Once we have our holes cut on both sides, then we'll take our coolant lines and put it on the back side of the bumper structure. We'll go ahead and install the hardware. We'll install the 1/4-inch hex bolts and the flange 1/4-inch nuts. We'll do this on both sides. Alright, at this point, we go ahead and install the base plate. Now we need to route it underneath the bumper structure, and then we push straight up. Now this is going to be a tight fit, so you may have to work it a while to get it up into place. Or if you have access to a press or a way to spread it out a little bit, this will help out a lot. Okay, once we have it in position, we'll go ahead and scoot up as far as possible, and then we'll clamp it. Once we have both sides clamped in position, we'll go ahead and adjust it from there. We'll tap it up or down as needed to get it in the right length. In this case, we'll be measuring from the top of frame down towards the base plate. Should be about 3.5 inches. We want to make it as level as possible with the frame, and we need to do this measurement on both sides. Now, with base plate in the correct spot, we'll use a Titch as a template and drill out a hole for our bolts. We'll be using a 13/32 drill bit. We'll use it to mark the hole for our sender, and then use a pilot bit to drill a small hole first, then go back at it with our final hole size. We'll install a 3/8 by 1.5 inch long bolt and a 3/8 lock washer, and then a 3/8 nut plate. We'll also use some Loctite on the bolt. We'll run a nut plate through the holes through the top of the frame, and we'll bend the handle as needed to line up the hole and then install the bolt. Then we'll go ahead and tighten it down. We'll do this on both sides of the car. Now when we install a bolt on the driver's side, we'll repeat the same process except our nut plate will go through the front and the opening of the bumper structure. With the 2 bolts holding the base plate in place, we'll go ahead and mark and drill our holes for rest attachment points on our base plate. So there'll be 2 holes behind our original bolt on top, and then 2 bolts along the side. Then once we have all our hardware in place, we'll go ahead and tighten it down. And then we'll torque the bolts down as specified in instructions. And then we'll remove the excess length from the handles from the plate nuts. Okay, with our base plate fully installed, we'll go ahead and install the base plate safety cables. We'll go ahead and route ours around a frame that's by the engine and below, and back up into the convenience link. We'll do this on both sides. We'll also take a fan shroud that we trimmed earlier, and we'll just go ahead and roll it off to the side behind our base plate. We'll go ahead and take our temperature sensor, and in this case we can actually reinstall it back in the original location. Before we permanently install our fascia, we'll go ahead and put it in place, see how the tabs will line up with existing holes in the fascia, and then we'll go ahead and make modifications as needed. Now when we install our fascia, we found out that mounting points for tabs go right through the grill. So all I do is just work it in place and slide it over the base plate, and we was able to put on the fascia without any other modifications. Now I'll go ahead and show you how the tabs work. We'll line up the end of the tab that goes inside the base plate with the slot on the inside. Then we'll rotate it up in position until the lock clicks into place. Okay, and with that, that'll finish it for our install part number BX1690 from Blue Ox on our 2011 Cadillac SRX.